What's up guys, my name is Kai and I'm the Nerd of Strength. Yesterday we predicted the Arnold Strongwoman Classic and today we're going to do the same for the Arnold Strongman Classic 2025. So, unlike the women who had 12 competitors, we originally had 11 competitors for the male lineup, but unfortunately Mateusz Kieliszkowski pulled out. But he will be back at Europe's Strongest Man. With that being said, we're down to 10 athletes and either way is going to be an amazing competition. Right out of the gate, we have two-time and returning champion Mitchell Hooper, three-time champion Half-Thor Julius Bjornsson, fifth place at the 2025 Strongest Man on Earth, Austin Andrade, two-time podium finisher Bobby Thompson, third place podium finisher at this year's World's Strongest Man, Evan Singleton, 2024 America's Strongest Man, Lucas Hatton, 2024 North America's Strongest Man, Maxime Boudreau, the Arnold Amateur and OSG Finals champion, Nick Gardion, the three-time World's Strongest Man, Tom Stoltman, and 2023 North America's Strongest Man, Trey Mitchell. And just like the women, they were doing the exact same event. So on day one, we have the elephant bar deadlift for max, we have the overhead gauntlet, and we have the frame carry. And day two, we have the big jerk for max, the timber test, and the Atlas stone to shoulder. Now, like I said in my women's prediction video, while that competition is a bit harder to predict, I feel like the men's competition is a little easier to predict, but I'm not saying that it's going to be a runaway for certain athletes. It's easy to say Hooper wins, lol, but he still has an uphill battle to go through, and there's going to be a couple of guys that will give him some problems on certain events. And honestly, I don't think he is going to win a lot of events, if any at all. I'll go into that later, but just like the women's predictions that I did, I'm going to do something a little different from most people who do prediction videos. I'm going to list a top 3 and a bottom 2. Now with my bottom 2, I'm not trying to be negative to the people who might perform a bit lower on some events than others, but it just gives me an opportunity to talk about some athletes people might not mention and maybe highlight some weaknesses that, they could work on in the future, or, I could just be wrong about them. For event number 1, we have the elephant bar deadlift for max, which is the most talked about event of the entire competition. Months ago, Thor declared that he will hit 501 here on the Arnold stage, and I absolutely believe him. I don't doubt that he won't. If you've seen his current training, his current body weight, which he's at 200 kilos right now, and he expects to jump up another 5 kilos within the week to be 205 on show day, we're getting full Thor. There's no way that he won't pull this. He is definitely capable. I think this will be more impressive than the standard bar deadlift because this will be raw. Of course, raw with straps, but this is no suit, and I believe that he can pull it. He got it off the ground in 2019. His foot slipped, but I think he can do it here. And this will be the most hyped about thing, and it will be played in highlight reels for the end of time, honestly. Will it shut down the haters? Will it stop the Eddie fanboys? No, it won't. But I and many others believe that he can hit it. I mean, of course, we won't know until the day, but it'd be kind of stupid to bet against him on that lift. With that being said, I don't want to take away from the other athletes, and for my top 3 on this event, I have Thor in first, I actually have Trey in second, and I have Bobby in third. Now, if you look at the results from Strongman Archive on previous Arnold Classics, Trey is not somebody who's usually in the top 3 on the deadlift. But after his Giants Live Vegas performance, where he pulled 474 raw, I think it could be possible. He's also said he wants to pull 501 here. I don't believe that he'll pull 501 on the elephant bar just because it's different. Some athletes say that the elephant bar is easier for them. Some say it's more difficult. Definitely the pull, the flex, and the whip of that bar is different than a standard bar deadlift. Trey looks like somebody who is definitely better at a stiff bar traditional deadlift. But he's improved so much in the past 8 months that I don't see him pulling a really big number here. Again, 501, realistically, no. He might take that as a third attempt, miss his third attempt, but his second attempt could cement him in a really good place. And then I have Bobby in third. Now, the last couple of years, Bobby's only need 2 attempts to, get second place. A lot of guys in the past couple of years, the deadlift has kind of gone down. We haven't seen 1,000-pound pullers. Thor's been the only person who's done that. Bobby knew from last year that he wasn't going to pull close to Thor, so he took 2 attempts and got second place in 2 attempts. Nothing wrong with that. He might actually have to fight a little harder this year. Do I think he's capable of a 1,000-pound pull here? Yes. Do I think he's going to beat Trey in 3? I think he's going to actually have to also take his 3 attempts, but do I think he's going to beat Trey? No. Starting off the show, I think Hooper needs to stay within the top 5, more realistically top 4 on this event. It's Hooper. You should never bet against Hooper. I believe he can place 4th in this event, but I think Austin Andrade is somebody to really look out for on this event. He was close on his final attempt at Giants Live Vegas, except he just didn't get the down call and he fell backwards. Thankfully, he didn't hurt himself. But he's somebody to look out for. I still would rate Hooper above Andrade on this event because Hooper had experience on this bar. Andrade's looking strong in training, but a mammoth bar is not the elephant bar. It's kind of similar, but not really the same thing. So for him to be new on this kit might throw him off. Keyword might. And for my bottom 2 in this event, I have Max and Nick. Max, we all know, is not the best deadlifter in this field. Last year, unfortunately, he had a lat pull on this event. Fingers crossed that doesn't happen this year and he at least pulls the opener to get at least a point or 2. Nick, I think, can also hit the opener, but, in this field, he is the smallest guy, I believe. I think so, yeah. In this field, Nick is the smallest guy here. I mean, not small in the general sense, but small compared to somebody like Thor, who's going to be 205 kilos on the day. Event number 2, we have the overhead gauntlet, which starts off with a monster dumbbell into a natural stone press, and then we have 2 log selections. You have the lighter 175 kilo log or the heavier 195 kilo log. Any reps or attempts on the heavier log trump anything you do on the lighter log. This is an event I'm very excited for, not as much as the big jerk, but I like a good overhead medley. For this, I have Lucas in first, Mitch second, Tom in third. It's kind of crazy to bet against Mitch as first place, but Lucas has been impressing me since last year. Like, he very technical, very quick. If you've seen his Instagram, you've seen those weird training that he does where he'll do a minute or 2 on a bike and then go into a log. I think he has the cardio for somebody who is a bigger guy. He looks like he has the cardio to kick ass at this event, and I believe it. The natural stone might stump him. It also might stump Mitch. In the past, and I get it, it was the last event of the Arnold last year, but just not somebody who seems to be that good or that well versed in natural stones. He hasn't fully shown us that he's capable of being very efficient in natural stones, and that might trip him up. I'm not saying that he won't get it, but I think he'll take a couple extra seconds, which will be very important in an event like this, to get that, overhead. To get into position and then get it to overhead. Once he gets out of the way, though, he's going to beast through that 195 kilo log. I don't have any doubts about that. I'm not sure if they have the same rule that they had at the Arnold last year, where if time runs down, but you have the log to your chest, you could still press it out. If they do, Mitch will probably use that to his advantage. But if they don't and he's too tired and gassed, he might, be one rep behind Lucas. I can see it. And in third place, I have Tom on this event. Over the past couple of years, Tom's shown us that he's very good at overhead press. It's just his lockout issues. We'll get to those later. Circus dumbbell. Really good at circus dumbbell. He's very proficient at circus dumbbell. With the natural stone press, I have no doubt that he's going to get through that very quickly. It's the log where I think he might fall down a bit in points. I'm not saying that he's not going to get the heavier log. He is more than capable of getting the heavier log. It's just that this will be the first Arnold's with his new coach. Traditionally, he hasn't been that spectacular at the Arnold's, but last year he had like a hip issue. He says those issues are fine now, and it's just more about making sure that everything stays intact, especially after the elephant bar deadlift. Depending on how he's felt after that event could determine how many reps he does here. I still think Mitch and Lucas will do more reps than him on this event, but he'll be a very close third. And for my bottom two on this event, I have Nick and Bobby. I'm not trying to be mean to Nick, I swear. It's just always weird to rate the Arnold amateur winner who moves up from that show up into like the big leagues. He's not the strongest overhead presser here, so that's kind of what I'm basing that on. And Bobby is a great overhead presser, especially on the log, but I think that natural stone is going to stop him. He's not somebody who's good at Atlas stones, and when it comes to natural stones, it's the same thing. Depending on the shape of the natural stones, that can really stump Bobby. And he's been training with sandbags, which is not the same, so we'll see on the day, but I don't think and I feel bad saying this, I don't think he makes it to the log portion of the gauntlet. I think he gets stumped by the natural stone. And for the end of day one, we have the frame carry. Now, like I said, for the women, last year this was event number 2. This year it's event number 3. After a grueling elephant bar and an overhead medley, they're going to be pretty tired. Thankfully, you only got 30 seconds. 30 grueling seconds, but only 30 seconds of suffering. For my top 3 on this event, I have Mitch, I have Max, and I have Thor. Look, my top 2 have Canadian grip on their side, but Mitch is a freak beast. Even after the first 2 events, I think he's going to dominate this event. We know he's quick, we know he's fast. And Max, same thing. I know he's going to beast through this event. My first and second can be very interchangeable, actually. In third place, I have Thor. Now, Thor is somebody who is really good at this event for a big man. Big man can move. But, again, he is placing all his chips on that elephant bar deadlift. He's coming in super heavy for the show at a supposed 205 kilos. That's a lot of body weight. And, guys like Brian, and I also believe Thor, once they get bigger, their hands get super thick. And, it's kind of harder for them to, grip things. So, that might be a caveat that might actually take him out of his top 3. You know what? I'm gonna change my prediction. So you know what? I'm gonna change it. My top 3 for the frame carry, I'm gonna say Mitch, Max, and Austin. Austin, for a big guy, can move. He was the fastest guy on the frame carry last year at World's Strongest Man. He's been looking strong in training, and I believe he can beast this event, and it's gonna be very good points for him. My bottom 2 on this event are going to be Bobby and Trey. I don't think anybody can argue with this. You know why? Big guys, tiny hands. Big guys, tiny hands. They both traditionally are the worst in the lineup on this event. Trey has nerve issues, and he just usually can't get off that plinth to move it. Same with Bobby. Bobby got that messed up screw foot, which, normally messes him up more on drag and push type of events, but it's still not good for him. It's not good for either one of them. I would love for them to move it. They have to move it at least off the platform to get a point, because if not, they're going to 0, and that's bad for both of them. Every point is important. Moving on to day number 2, we have the Big Jerk. Now this is the most hype event of this show. Forget the deadlift. This is the event that I care about the most. I am so excited to see what these guys are going to put overhead. In training, these guys are looking spectacular. Lucas Hatton, Mitch Hooper. You know, it's going to be a battle. I'm just happy that Mitch has somebody to push him. And I'm glad that Lucas gets to show it on this big stage. For my top 3, I have Lucas in first, I have Mitch in second, and I actually have Trey in third here. I want somebody to push Lucas on this event. I want to see a wacky, stupid number put overhead. But are we going to see it? Probably not. Lucas and his coach are going to be smart about their number selection. They are going to do what they have to do to win the event. But I would love to see some YOLO lifts. We're not going to do that. We're playing for points. We're playing for podium. And I get it. But give the people what they want. Please. But they won't. Maybe. Mitch might push him. The last couple of weeks of Mitch's training have looked a little different. It shows that he is human. If you've watched his training, he has like a wrap around one of his patellas. Sometimes the lockout's not fully there. That could be a huge advantage for Lucas. And third on this event, originally I wrote down Tom as my third place in this event, but I've changed my mind and moved that to Trey. Trey has a more solid lockout than Tom. Tom is statically very strong. So is Trey. Tom, I would like to say third, and this is not coming from a place of hate, but in the past, especially on this exact lift with the Flintstone barbell lift at World's Strongest Man, those lockouts were not solid. I'm not a hater. You know, Tom likes to talk about the haters. I'm not a hater. He likes to also mention other people's lockouts and something glass houses. There's a quote there, right? I don't know. But we need to make sure for this event to go off without a hitch, without having any controversy or anybody complaining at this event, we need 3 judges. We need a front judge and we need 2 side judges. Once those 2 side judges give a green flag or whatever, then you get your down command. Tom was very liberally gifted a lift or 2 at World's Strongest Man in 2022. I don't want to see that here. And again, I'm not saying that as a hater. I believe he can hit a big number. It's just, you know, quick downs aren't okay. You know, we need to have strict judging across the field for everybody. Not just Tom, but for Mitch, for Lucas, for Thor, for everybody in that field. With that little rant out of the way, my bottom 2 on this event, I have Nick and Thor. Again, Nick, not the best overhead presser, and Thor, man, with every passing year, you just sigh and be like, if you never did that powerlifting meet, your press would be a lot better. But c'est la vie. You know, can't change the past. But he hasn't put up that spectacular of a number in training. And if you saw that video from a couple of days ago where it's just, he dropped, 200 kilos on his back and walked away? Wacky. Imagine a normal person doing that. They would die. But it just looks like it's more of a technique thing where it's just, let me move this, where he's more throwing it too far back instead of up. So it's interesting to see what technique he'll go with. I don't think he's going to miss a lift. I just don't think with this lineup of guys, there's a lot of strong overhead pressers. Going to event number 5, we have the timber test. Now, we still haven't seen what the apparatus is going to look like or how the logs are going to look, but it's basically you're running logs onto a giant sled and then you gotta pull it. As I said in my women's predictions, they're going to be the guinea pigs for this. And the men really need to pay attention to how they're going to lift and do this event and adopt systems or see what's going to work best for them. I still believe that the taller, heavier athletes are going to win this event over somebody who was smaller in stature or lighter. especially if those logs are going to be stupid heavy. And it's the Arnold, so they probably are going to be stupid heavy. My top 3 for this event are Tom, Mitch, and Thor. Tom, 6'8" frame, I believe around 185 kilos in body weight. That's going to be used very well on an event like this. Use that wingspan. There's a reason why we call him the Albatross. He's also, while heavier than Mitch, he's lighter than Thor, which I think will be very important on something that is going to be an endurance-based event. Mitch, again, don't bet against Mitch. Mitch is a fast guy, smaller than the 2 other people I have on the top 3 in this event, but Mitch does Mitch things, and he's going to be a fast mover. And finally, I have Thor on this event. While that body weight will be great for the deadlift, I do think it's going to hinder him in other events. Thor still has the cardio and the work capacity to finish this event, but I just think, it's going to slow him down a bit. Time is of the essence, and every second counts. My bottom 2 for this event, I swear I'm not trying to be mean to Bobby, but I'm going to put Bobby and Trey at the bottom of this event. Bobby, again, he has that fused ankle, that screw foot that's going to hinder him on the drag portion of this event. And again, he's also somebody who is a bit stubbier and shorter in stature, so it'll be interesting to see how he's going to lift the logs. With Trey, this could be a toss-up. He had that Achilles tendon tear on the bull pull at the Rogue in 2023. He's recovered from that. But maybe it could be something that could still affect him. This could be something that still affects him. He hasn't really done this type of event since he's come back. I hope everything stays intact. Fingers crossed. We'll see. And finally, we move on to event number 6, the Stone to Shoulder. After 2 days of competing in 5 other grueling events, this is going to matter a lot. I don't think this is going to be a runaway competition for Mitch or for anybody. There's no way you could be like, I'm not going to do this last event. I've already won. They're going to have to fight, and every point matters. They're going to be guys beat up, but, this is separate the men from the boys. My top 3 on this event, I have Tom, I have Mitch, and I have Trey. Yeah, I'm a little shocked that I also didn't put Thor, but I'm confident that Thor will be 4th and not top 3 on this event. Tom is the best at stones in the world. Tom's gonna rep that out like it's nobody's business, I can guarantee it. Mitch will probably do the same, but Mitch is not as good at stones as Tom. And then I have Trey in 3rd place on this event. I think Mitch will do whatever he can to eke out as many reps as possible on the stone just to stay above whoever's in 3rd place. And he'll need that. If my prediction for event number 5 is correct, and say Mitch comes in like top 3 on the timber test, Trey will have to go before Mitch in that final event. Mitch is smart, and Mitch will know what he needs to do, how many reps he needs to do to make sure that he is above the guy before him, which will be very important. So I could see Mitch gritting it out and doing what he has to do to stay maybe just even 1 rep above Trey in this event, which will be a lot of points. And then I have Trey in 3rd because Trey is just, the new age Texas Stoneman. He is great at stones. It's just a matter of endurance, and again, after 5 grueling events, how many reps can he get? When your back's cooked, you're just tired, you're just exhausted from competing. Now, normally, I would have Thor top 2 in this event, but ever since that pec tear, I don't know. Or it'll take him more time to fully position and stand erect with the stone that he'll be losing seconds, which will matter. So that could bite him in the ass. Or I can be completely wrong and talking out of my ass. we'll see. I think it'll be an exciting finisher. Last year I was a bit disappointed with the natural stones as the last event. Outside of Mateusz, it was just like everybody was beat up, half the field done pulled out, the other half zeroed, and it's just like, oh, okay. So I think we're actually going to get a fight on this event. Someone else who can be very interesting on this event is Evan. Evan can end up in the top 3 or the bottom 2. Just like last event, I actually have him in my bottom 2 along with Bobby in this event. Again, Bobby's not somebody who's good at Atlas Stones. He's not good at lap them. You think he's going to get them to the shoulder as well? We'll see. Evan is my wild card in this event. Solely because, and just looking at his training, he's only started shouldering an Atlas Stone 3 or 4 weeks ago. He only got an Atlas Stone to train on 3 or 4 weeks ago, so he hasn't had as much time to train on this event. And again, not a hater. I am a fan of Evan, but it's that weird wild power where he moves around a lot. He's very explosive. That can screw him over, where it's like just trying to stand there and he's moving around. He doesn't get a down command. We'll see. Hopefully he controls it. We say that at every competition. Evan's a weird one to rate. He's either up or he's down. He's up, he's down. You never know with him. So that's why I'm saying he's probably going to be in my bottom 2. I hope not. I want to be proven wrong. After everything is said and done, we come to the overall standings. And this has been really hard for me to decide my overall top 3. I have Mitch in first place, but second and third I think are going to be really hard to call. 2 overhead events is great for Lucas Hatton. That stone event can be really good points for Trey. The timber test can be really good points for Tom. The deadlift, spectacular points for Thor. I'm going to commit to a top 3, but it's been really hard to call. But I'm going to firmly place Mitch in first. I'm going to put Tom in second, because I don't see Tom coming in last in any event. In third, I don't want to have a fence-sitter answer and say Thor and Trey are going to tie on third. It could happen. We've seen it happen in the past with Bobby and Luke Stoltman. But I'm going to say Trey in third. I think the overhead gauntlet is what's going to be the deciding factor for Trey to maybe, even if it's just a point or a half a point, to place above Thor and get on the podium. So yeah, that's going to be my top 3. And Thor, once again, is going to miss out and get a 4th place. But it's going to be grueling. It's going to be interesting. And you can call me crazy. I think I'm crazy for my top 3, but I truly believe that this is Trey's year to hit the podium. This will probably be the most historic Arnold Classic of all time. Thor will probably hit 501. Mitch will probably win his 3rd ACS. That will tie him for 2nd all-time wins at this show, tying with Thor and Brian. We'll probably get a world record, a really stupid number on the Big Jerk, which I am the most excited for. The Arnold is less than a week away, and I seriously cannot contain my hype for the women and the men's shows. They'll be live streaming for free on Rogue's YouTube channel on the Friday and the Saturday. We don't have Rogue Record Breakers this year, which sucks, but I do believe that there'll be some Strongman lifts in the Animal Cage. I think that'll be on Animal's YouTube page. Things I won't make a video for, but I do want to bring attention to, are the Arnold Pro-Am this year. Both the men's and the women. It is now guaranteed that the winner of the Open Men's and the Women's will move on to the Arnold Classic stage in 2026. So you should look out for that. We're still waiting for live stream details on that, but it will be live stream. Probably with ADL, maybe we'll see. I'll post a link in the pin post once I get that, and then we'll also have World's Strongest Firefighter, which I think is a cool event that Arnold puts on. This was a long-winded video. Call me crazy. Seriously, my predictions might be crazy, might be wrong. Tell me who you have as your top 3 in the comments below. Once again, my name is Kai. If you like what I do, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. After this weekend, we'll move on to Europe's Strongest Man and World's Strongest Man. But until then, stay strong.